Before we jump in, I just want to share a quick note. In today's episode, there are a lot of moments of laughter and lightness, but we also talk honestly about heavier topics, including abuse and domestic violence. If any of this feels tender or activating, please listen at your own pace, or feel free to pause or skip this episode altogether. Taking care of yourself always comes first. And if this conversation brings something up for you, support is available. In the U.S., you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. If you're outside the U.S., you can find local resources at findahelpline.com. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get started. Healing House presents the Pain into Power podcast with me, Miss Theo, where we turn pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love. Pain. It's part of the human experience. It's practically unavoidable. So what if we don't avoid it, but actually run toward it? And what if pain wasn't here to break us, but to awaken us? So follow along on Instagram at Healing House of Theo. That's HealingHouseoftHeo, or at the Pain into Power podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you may listen and watch podcasts. Like, subscribe, and join the community. Welcome, fam. Let's turn this pain into power. Great job. Is that on camera? It is.
You should have it as a blooper.
We haven't even started yet. Okay, boy. It's gonna be very hard for this episode not to be full of just giggles. So really I know we're gonna talk about serious things. We're gonna try to be serious here. Okay, you ready, girl?
I'm ready.
All right. Wow, these are very large glasses of water.
Agua.
Maybe next time we'll do an ASMR. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to this podcast where we turn pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love. Woo! If you joined us so far and listened to a few of our episodes, thank you so much for being here. And if you're new, welcome. Now, I have been waiting to interview this woman basically since I met her because I just knew we need to tell your story. We have been friends for over... How old is TJ? Wait, TJ is 17.
Almost 15 years?
Yep.
Oh,
because we met him when he was four or five. Yes.
One of those.
Yep. Well, I hired him to be a mini version of my partner in a music video at that time. And then he was incredible. And then I met her, which is even more incredible. And as soon as we met each other, we just knew it was constant, instant besties and soul sisters, cosmic soul sisters. But before all that, she is an amazingly talented human being, soul, cosmic guide. So much more. She's gifted in so many ways, super heart opening. And you would never even think that she has all of these credits to her name because she's just so dang humble. And that's what I love about her. So that's why I like to brag about her, because she never talks about her accomplishments. So let me give it to you right here, right now. So before she could utilize her talents for her own solo endeavors, R&B and pop singer, vocal arranger, and songwriter, she was a lead singer in the family group Royalty with her brother and her sisters, which is super cute. And may I add, weren't you guys one of the first ones to actually perform on BET Live?
We were the first group to perform for BET Inside Studio A with Albie Shore, and yeah.
So I got chills. Look, I got chills. Oh my goodness.
That's right.
Okay, yes, beautiful. So lead singer in the family group Royalty, signed to Warner Brothers Records, working with famed producers Atlantic Starr, Teddy Riley, Full Force, Jodeci, and Gerald Levert. And if those artists are ringing true to you, then you get it. She lent her songwriting talents to several recording artists, including but not limited to Tamia, Jessica Jarrell, Kiki Palmer, Brandy, Fabulous, A. Marie, Keisha Cole, Nas, Nick Cannon, Jay-Z, and the legendary Gladys Knight's Grammy Award-winning contemporary album, Greatest Love of All, which she did win a Grammy for.
Yes.
Congratulations, Miss Thing. I'm not going to say her name yet. She has appeared in films Beauty Shop and Toys starring Robin Williams, Rest in Love. She has also soundtrack credits for You Got Served, The Wild Wild West starring Will Smith, Earth Girls Are Easy starring Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. Okay, I'm really excited about that one because that was one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched it all the time. That was my first celebrity crush, was Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, and he's still today. Yeah.
Yes.
For older man, yep.
And and I never would have thought that like 20 plus years later I would actually meet her, who was in the movie. So I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. And then I also met Jeff Goldblum.
Exactly.
Yes. So my friend from high school is his like music manager, not like a manager, but he's in the band, band manager, I guess, I don't know, with his band. And one of my really good friends, best friends from college, her husband's sister's husband is a keyboard player for. So I was like, small world. What a small world. And I was like, oh my God.
I never knew you had a crush on him. That was surprising to me. I went, really?
I did. I know. Well, I don't really have celebrity crushes. Like, honestly, he's the only one. There's something, you know what it is? Okay, it's TMI, but like, I'm an alien and stuff. Yes. And I think it was the whole alien.
It was the whole alien
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the first movie I think I recall where it was like an alien themed movie that I remember. Yeah. Really and truly. So
I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really awesome.
Sorry, this is what we do. We go on tangents on we're still in her bio, okay?
We do. Sorry.
Yes, here we go. And not only Earth Girls Are Easy, but also the Color Purple soundtrack under the direction of the incomparable Quincy Jones, including writing the theme song for Will Smith and Jada Pinkett's hit sitcom All of Us. She has wide-ranging talents that led her to sing and perform with a female quartet for a popular Coca-Cola commercial and theater work in Sisterella, produced by Larry Hart and Mark Swinton, a Motown play produced by Ralph Farquhar, and Motown Revue produced by Suzanne DePass. Please let me know if I'm saying any of these names incorrectly.
You're saying them right.
Okay, cool. No disrespect, you know what I'm saying? She is also an established author with the publication of the novel Room 111, which depicted a male R&B singer's turbulent ride in the music business. Room 111 was a popular, sold out, might I add, book on Amazon, distributed by Legacy Publishing. She now shares her gifts through her nonprofit, Kisa Hakeem School of Creative Arts and Visualization, which focuses on teaching the youth in underserved communities how to connect through the arts, develop confidence, and a higher sense of self. Also, my best friend.
That was really good, too.
The most important thing on her bio is that she's my best friend.
This is true. This is true.
Welcome to the show, Miss Kisa Hakeem.
Well, thank you, Miss Theo.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to see what you're doing with the show.
Yes.
So you invited me as a guest, and I couldn't figure out why, so I'm just excited. Wow.
Oh, my God.
Thank you.
No, well, because since I have known Kisa and I've learned more about her story, I've just been like mind blown. Like you're life.
And you've seen my journey.
Exactly. Yes, I've been a part. I've been a part
lived
of
it with me. Yep.
It is a movie, y'all.
It is.
It is a movie, like multiple movies at this point.
Yeah.
You started your career in the music industry at a very young age.
I did.
How old were you when you started?
Professionally, 10.
Ooh.
So yeah. So my dad was in the business, and so he was in a group in the 50s and 60s and so on and so forth. So there was music in our house.
And then Young Hearts, right?
The Young Hearts.
Yes.
Yep, the Young Hearts. And he was the first voice to actually sing American Bandstand theme song. This is when they didn't really show the black person singing it. So they had a white face in the forefront.
Stop.
But my dad was the actual voice for the American Bandstand song.
I'm sorry. That just...
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
My blood boil. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
That's crazy.
But that's how it was. Yeah. And
wow.
And then I just naturally just gravitated my whole family towards the music. And one day, just a lot transpired where we grew up in the hood and losing a brother and so on and so forth. And it just led us to using music as a way to heal, and also just get us out of our circumstances, which was, we didn't want to live in the hood anymore. So we worked really hard to, get out. And it was music that took us out of there. And we landed our first record deal. So,
wow. And how old were you when you landed your first record deal?
12. I was 12 when we signed the deal.
And what did you think at that time?
Actually, I'm sorry, 13. And then I was 14 when we actually came out.
That's crazy. As a 13, 12, 10 to 13-year-old, I mean, when I was that age, I was like, boys and activities at school,
I did like boys when I was a little girl.
Oh yeah, she a little boy crazy. I was boy crazy when I was. Oh yeah, we call her Darla.
Especially as a little girl. So I used to get whippings all the time from my dad because we weren't allowed to talk to boys, and I always did. And I would take candy from boys, and I thought boys were just lovely.
Oh my God.
So luckily music kind of kept me busy. Kept me busy. And I ended up getting shy after a while.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Still loved boys, but it was just in my head.
I love it. For me, on the other hand, when I was such a troublemaker with boys. Like most of my life, I had mostly guy friends. Yeah. And so around that age, I was like, I mean, elementary school, I'd like play football. I mean, I kind of kicked them in the.
I would never kick them.
It was like, I know, I felt, no. I mean, now that I'm, when I got older, I was like, oh, that's probably not good. I'm like, sorry, but don't try to steal the football from me. That's what you get.
Only one I would kick would be my brother. But other than that, no.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so funny. It is back on topic though.
Yes.
You started at such a young age. What was it like in terms, because you weren't really technically an adult yet. So could you make your own decisions? Did you have a voice?
No. Could not make my own decisions. I was too young to even understand what that meant at that time. I just knew that God had gifted me with a talent. And I think at that time, we were just desperate to change our circumstances. And so music was the only thing that we knew, could take us out of there. And so that was more of the focus. But, even though my dad grew up in the industry, we were pretty sheltered as little kids. And so I didn't really understand what we were really diving into as a kid. You just don't get it. Yeah. So, and back then, no, you didn't have a voice. You just did what you were told. And that's what we did.
When was the first time in the music industry where you recognized, and maybe you didn't know or how to verbalize it, but in your gut, your energy, your feeling, like, when did you feel like, this doesn't feel comfortable to me? Like, I can tell that it doesn't feel good, but there's nothing I can do about it.
I think pretty soon after we signed our record deal with Warner Brothers, I knew that things had changed because there was a lot of pressure for me as a kid at that time to lose weight. They instantly
at 12, 13.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
God. And this is what is this 80s?
At this time, it was the late 80s.
Right. So back then, they were like...
There was a lot of pressure. And it was during that era where, you had, we came after the Jacksons. We came after, these different artists. And so there was a lot of pressure on them. And it was just kind of known that with African-American artists or, minority artists that you dissected them. It's... Right. Do we get nose jobs? There were conversations about me getting a nose job. Thank God I didn't do it.
As a young child?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, my God, you had a perfect nose.
Yeah, thank God, but I didn't think so. I didn't think
sad.
about anything like that as a kid. But once we signed our deal, instantly there were conversations about us getting nose jobs. Me and my older sister, specifically, they considered us getting nose jobs and putting us on diets right away.
Wow.
And unfortunately, that led to an unhealthy relationship with food with me and my older sister specifically. Yeah, so there was a lot of pressure. So I knew at that point that it was different. And, you felt like if I didn't do it, I would lose these opportunities. So you did everything you were told to do, no matter what, and you would just keep a smile on your face, and you'd hide if you were, starving yourself half to death or ready to pass out, which would happen, often when I was a kid. We'd do shows and perform, and I wouldn't eat very often just so I could stay thin. And, there were moments where, I ended up in the hospital as a result of it.
My goodness. Yeah. That's terrible.
It was a lot of pressure, but it wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
Which is, even sad to say, but it wasn't uncommon.
And then as you got older, you moved into songwriting, right? And then even there, you were still pretty much the only female, one of the only females around, like the studios and the songwriting teams and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
so what was that like, and how did you have to move through that? Because this is, like Diddy and all that stuff is being exposed now.
Yeah.
But this is stuff like decades.
I never thought, I wanted it to happen where the industry itself would change, but I didn't know that it would happen in this way, that people would actually start coming out and, having these movements and speaking up. But as you know, when we first initiated our podcast together.
Yes, we did. We had one. Yeah.
The whole theme was finding your voice, because it felt like, even when I wrote the movie, the novel Room 111, it was, a way to really try to highlight what had been happening in the industry. But people would blackball you, and, they would really just beat you up, and you'd never work again if you ever spoke about stuff. Yeah. But you were asking. What were you asking again?
Well, how did you
go transcend into writing?
Yeah, and as a woman and being one of the only women.
Well, I always loved just, my father wrote songs, and I always loved just the process of writing songs, and then just watching other people actually sing them, not just myself, but seeing the creation of song and music and all those different things. So it was always in me. And my older sister, who was an amazing poet and writer, I would watch her just write things all the time. And my father would kind of cultivate her in the writing area. And, when I became a teenager, it's the hip hop era. Everybody was all about, hip hop and, talking.
I love whenever she references hip hop. She always says that. She's like hip hop
and all that stuff. And a lot of my friends were musicians, Jodeci and all these guys, and there were some amazing writers around that time. Something for the People, and these were that was my song. My love is a Jesse Powell. I was friends with all these guys, and I was just this teenager going, I want to write too, and I was, fortunate enough that they just took me under their wings, and it was that time where everybody just was, they would open themselves up. If you wanted to do it and you were, passionate about it, they were there for you. And I was lucky enough to go into the studio, and my first record that I wrote was called I Get So Hot For You, and it was with Something for the People, and it was a dope song.
Nice.
It needed to come out.
I need to hear the song.
It was a really dope record. Oh my God. And from there, I just kind of formed my own relationship with Devontae from Jodeci, Teddy Riley, and all of these guys, and they would invite me to sessions, and so I'd start to learn the process of writing songs and what that meant, and how to elevate a song, and that's how it happened.
That's amazing. And what did it feel like being one of the only women, and how did you move through that?
I think when I was a teenager, I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't realize that was even a thing. I met one girl, her name was Terry, and I met her through Jodeci, who was an amazing writer at the time. And I think Missy and all of them were kind of in that same circle with her. And I just thought, oh my God, these girls are like, wow. And I just wanted to be as good as them, or try to attempt to be even close to what they were doing. But you didn't really hear much about them in the forefront at that time. And I didn't realize that there was this thing where really they didn't highlight many female writers at that time until I started, when I became older and I started working on certain projects, and I realized that it was more male dominant.
Yeah.
And then there would be times when I wouldn't even want to go into the writing sessions, so that they wouldn't see that it was a female writing the record.
Oh
so
my goodness.
Yeah, because I thought that it would mess up my chances
For
of getting a song
sure.
placed. Yeah, so I would
Crazy.
I would just tell the
I'm
producers,
sorry.
I'll write the record, but I don't want to go into the session.
Men are just so scared of women because they know how powerful we are. That's why they used to burn us at the stake, as witches.
Well, you know what? Well, a lot of times I think back then it was more so that if you were, attractive, woman coming into these sessions, you weren't really respected
Right.
in the same way.
Which is like...
Yeah. I went to a session one time where I was called to write. Trackmasters asked me to write on a known artist, I'm not going to say who it is, came in to write on his project. And when I walked into the session, he just looked at me and just was like, are you here for my eye candy? And I'm like, no, I'm here to write the record. Yeah. And so, and that's how it was. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's still like that.
Is it really?
I'm not, girl, Diddy.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Diddy was a part of my era. Mm-hmm. And so I think what's happening is that, back then when you were living it, you didn't think this stuff would ever come to the forefront, and so now it just is,
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if it's happening today in that way. I don't think it's happening in exactly that way.
But,
I don't know.
But messed up things are still happening.
Oh, God,
for sure.
yes.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Especially to women and the younger, younger artists and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So you did mention a bit about our podcast that we did have, which was called Finding Your Voice. We wanted to do this a few years ago, and we had all of this momentum. We were so excited on these guests and everything, and we had to stop because of a particular person who basically wanted to block our voices. And because for safety reasons, we decided to stop the podcast. So that's why we stopped. And that was a couple years ago. And then since then, we both have gone through a lot of life and lessons
transformation
and growth and pain.
Yeah.
And we both, but you even before had already gone through so much pain. And then even more pain. The universe was like, you're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're going to make you even more powerful by giving you more pain.
Yeah.
So that particular thing, and just someone trying to put a block on our voice, but we had to do it for safety. But here we are now, years later, maybe a different podcast, but we're here, we're using our voices, we're both comfortable with it, we're strong, and I'm just so excited to have you here and that we're having this conversation.
Yay. Yes. And timing is everything, and I think we were trying to figure it all out during that time. And I had dreams of starting a school and doing different things in addition to Finding Your Voice. And really what that platform was about was just, it was healing for us. Because for me, speaking for myself, just growing up in the industry my whole life and just feeling as if you just can't speak up, you can't say what you want to say, and you can't. And I find when you can't do that, you can't heal. You can't even figure out if you're wrong or right in a situation if you can't speak on it. And so what I've learned now, as I've evolved even from that time, is that speaking on your experience is really important, because you have an opportunity to look at your own life and say, I could have done that differently, or, I should have done it this way. And, you grow. So, I really still to this day, whether people have judgments of me or not, no matter what, I just encourage people to find your voice and speak up no matter what, because it's healing. Even when you think it's going in another direction, you might be surprised to find out what you discover when you start to speak up.
Yes. So. Ooh, the courage to speak up. Absolutely.
Courage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's good conversation already, but we're going to go to our first sponsored commercial break from our sponsors. Yay. It might just be my own commercials, or it might be other sponsors. Who knows? Hey, you want to sponsor an episode? Holla. Holla. It's good vibes, and you get a really dope ass audience. So when we come back, we are going to see what Kim Kardashian and Miss Kisa Hakeem have in common. She didn't even know I was going to say that. All right, we'll be right back.
That's funny. You're bad.
Welcome to Healing House, a sacred space to seek refuge and refreshment for your mind, body, and soul. Whether you're seeking Reiki energy healing, tarot and oracle guidance, or soul transformational coaching, every session is designed to help you remember who you truly are and come home to your most powerful self. Join me in person or virtually for sessions, certification classes, private coaching, and healing events held around the world. Book your session or explore upcoming offerings at loveisthehighestfrequency.com. All right, so we are back. Thank you so much for joining us. We have the amazing Kisa Hakeem here with us. Woo-woo.
Hey.
Hey, it's a beautiful rainy day here.
Thank
goodness in LA here. Well, we're up in a little north more, but basically we are finally getting some rain after we're about 2 weeks out of the fires. Is when we're recording this. So just want to give a shout out to the rain gods. Thank you for blessing us with some water and just sending our love to every single person who's been affected by the fires.
Yep, blessings to everybody.
Yeah, love y'all.
Yep.
Okay, now back to Kisa and
to me.
This pain turning into power. Okay, so we know now that she started as a young artist at the age of 10, learned some big lessons that way, then became a songwriter, being one of the few female songwriters in a room. Yeah. I mean, I remember you even sharing with me how like you would dress up really. You'd like really like you'd be like
cowgirl hats or hoodies.
Cowgirl.
I try to, and I'm very, very feminine, but a lot of times I would try to, dress down, wear no makeup, baggy stuff, hoodies, and things that wouldn't I would think wouldn't be a distraction from people in the room at the time. So because I wanted to just get the job done. I wanted to work, and I needed to work. I needed to make money, and I was serious about my work and my craft, and I wanted to grow. And it's really hard to get from point A to point B in your career as a woman at that time because if you were attractive to people, you had so many men coming towards you. And they would take you off course, If they couldn't control it, then it would take you off course, and then you'd find yourself not really progressing in your career the way you should have. And I just have to say, I feel really bad for not just myself, but for a lot of women that should have had really solid careers in our time that were pigeonholed. Is that the right word? Pigeonholed or whatever the word. Because of the control that men had at that time and the need for them to tell us how to be, when to be, and what they wanted us to portray ourselves as. And if we didn't, it would end, and kudos to Beyonce. She had a support system with her father, I think, who really guided her in her career and protected her from, some of that. I'm sure she's gone through her own things, but, a lot of the women that should have made it, that were really talented, that should have had those opportunities, never got to really see it through.
Now, speaking of one of these men who, see a shiny thing and they want to control it because they think, and it's an ego thing. Did you come across somebody like that? I'm only asking a question, but I already know.
I did. Well, you said, what did you and Kim Kardashian have in common? Well, let's just get to it.
Exactly. So what did you and Kim Kardashian have in common?
Well, what many people don't know, what we had in common is that I was actually married to, and then found out it wasn't legal, but thank goodness, but thought I was legally married to her husband, her first husband, who was my first husband.
Right. So you guys share a first husband.
We share a first husband. And, I was young at the time, and it was just coming out.
How old were you?
Well, so I met him, I believe, when I was 18. But I was so, young, and I was sheltered, so I wasn't really allowed to just date guys like that. And so he didn't have access to me, but he was a producer, so he was in the studio, and he knew people I knew, and he knew actually my cousin, who was our chaperone at the time, he befriended him, and that's kind of how he
Sneaky.
he was able to get access to me. But he was young as well, older than me, but young as well, up and coming, and he just kind of came around at the right time when I felt like I didn't really know who I was and just where I wanted to go. We were just getting out of our deal situation with Warner Brothers, and I hadn't dated, never been in a real relationship. I had a couple of little crushes and stuff like that.
I mean, you're still young.
Very young. And at that time I was 20, about 20. And it was just one day I got stood up by a guy in the industry that I really liked at the time. And he called and asked me out on a date, and it just so happened my family was teasing me that day too, and so I just wanted to prove a point and went out on a date with him.
Yeah.
And I had some friends there, Jesse Powell and all these guys that we all were a friend circle, and he proposed to me that day on the date.
Oh my God.
And it just so happened I had a point to prove. So I said,
red flags. Okay.
I said yes. Yeah. I didn't know what marriage meant. I didn't know anything about what a marriage was. I admit that. I had no clue.
You were still a kid. I mean, it's because of your background too. Like being in the music industry, you didn't have a normal
I was very sheltered.
Upbringing.
I had no clue. And I didn't even think it was real at the time. I just said yes because I don't know what I was thinking. And next thing I know, he was serious about it. Yeah. And so then I felt like I had to, see this through because my family was like, yeah, right. And I was like, no, I am. I'm grown. I am. And so I saw it through, and, I had, this fantasy of what I thought relationships were supposed to be and didn't have any experience or knowledge. And so I got into the situation where it was just in over my head, and it was abusive, and it was all these things that were just got unimaginable for me. And it took a minute for me to figure out how I even got there and how to get out. And so when I did, God, it had to be within a week. I think he was heading off to Vegas, getting married to Kim Kardashian. But I met her when we were together, and because he'd take me shopping in her boutique at the time, and he'd spend a lot of money or whatever. And she was there, and she was a teenager, at the time. Oh my
goodness, yeah.
And pretty girl, and I didn't even know people really cheated, so I don't know if they ever cheated when we were together, but who knows. But they ended up going off to Vegas and getting married, and and that's what we have in common. So, and I often wondered, because she's so successful and she's doing really well for herself, and I often wondered if she found herself in
a similar situation
that I was in with him as well.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, thank you. I could totally cut this part out if you don't want to share it.
Yeah.
So, but I'll ask the question is, what's kind of ironic is, didn't he call you while he was with Kim?
He did.
And what did he say?
He did. He still wanted me back at the time. And I mean, things had gotten so out of hand with he and I by that time. I mean, it's 2 years in.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to leave multiple times because he was physically abusive. And so, and I hid it from my family and people like that because it was embarrassing for me to find myself in that situation. I didn't know. I wasn't raised to think men even put their hands on you, so I didn't even understand what I did that would make that okay for him to do that. And so, at that time, being young, you point the finger at yourself. Well, maybe if I cooked, or maybe if I knew how to do this. I mean, I'm young,
Not even young. Like, I think, when I recently had to file a restraining order last year in Hawaii, and it gave me so much perspective of what a woman goes through during the process. You first think, oh my God, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do to deserve this? Which is when it's like, you didn't do shit.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything.
Well, I never talked about this, but I just want to give a scenario. The first time I recall him putting his hands on me, it was really, really crazy because, again, I grew up with people in the industry, and I was friends with Jay Valentine and his brother, Bobby Valentine. They were a singing group that came up in the ranks like we did, right? And he knew them and invited them to our home, and they came over, and I was so excited to see them, and they were like brothers to me. And so we were just laughing, having a good time, and we're talking about writing. And he's a producer. He's got a studio and the whole thing. And we're just talking about writing and just having a great time. And they leave. I don't think anything of it. And he pulls me into the studio and throws me up against the equipment and hits me. And I was in shock. Because I didn't know, I just didn't even know what was happening.
Right.
It was shocking, and then I didn't know what I did, and he explained to me at that moment, he says, you don't talk to, anyone unless I tell you it's okay. Referencing guys.
Right.
And so I couldn't share that with, my friends and everything, but that was the first time when I realized, like, what am I in, but I thought, well, did I do something disrespectful?
Right.
I thought at that time it was me. Like, what did I say? Maybe you're not supposed to talk to other guys when you're in a relationship.
Right.
And that was the beginning of this whole controlling. And then again, going into an industry where you're always told you have to change this and you have to do that, reflecting on it now, I was thinking in my head, well, maybe this is something I have to work on.
For sure. Yeah, because that's all you've basically known since you were a child. You never were given the opportunity to have your own voice or like opinion.
And although I never had anyone physically hit me, and my father would have died if had he known that he had put his hands on me, in a relationship, I'd never been in a relationship. So I'm thinking, God, I made him that upset where he just... I crossed the line,
right?
And unfortunately, again, when you're in a situation where, as entertainers, you have to always feel like you have to please people or say the right things. You're so held accountable for everything you do. You look at yourself first, and you taper you. You go, okay, I can't do this, and I really hope that changes. I do feel that still goes on to some extent in the industry where. Yeah. A lot of entertainers are held accountable for things that they shouldn't be, and they have to taper themselves, but, so again, it escalated, I found myself constantly in situations where, I did the wrong thing or I said the wrong thing. And then I started wilding out too. Then I started fighting back,
I mean,
the best way I knew how.
Yeah.
And so by the time I was able to get away, and again, I thought I was legally married to him, and then I found out I wasn't. He immediately is heading to Vegas to get married to Kim Kardashian, and he called me and told me about it, and I just said, kudos to you, but at the same time, she wasn't Kim Kardashian then. Yeah. In my mind, I'm thinking, does she know what she's getting herself into? And I don't think she's ever really publicly spoke on this or anything
even
like
about
that.
him.
And maybe her experience was different than mine, but
yeah.
But I think as women, we, always want to appear strong. So we share certain things, and then other things we don't. We just kind of tuck it away.
Yeah. What was the moment that clicked for you when you were like, this is it. I got to change my life. I got to get out of here or else.
With that situation, because I still had a lot of healing to do even after I left that situation. But the moment that clicked for me was, he had hit me, and it had gone way too far. And, I think after that experience, I probably blacked out. at one point, and in my mind, you know, I felt like I couldn't continue to live like this, you know, and I wasn't a person that was suicidal. I wasn't any of those things, but I felt like I felt like a zombie at that point. I was completely detached from who I was or who I should have been. And, you know, it escalated to a point where it was like either him or me, you know, and he let me go. You know, he let me go without going too in depth with everything. But he said I could go. You know, I felt like I was a prisoner, you know, and, you know, I had people, you know, I had called cops before. And at that time, you know, the cops, you know, they were bought, you know, if someone had money and they'd party with them, you know. So, I mean, I can relate to a lot of what these women are talking about today, because it's, if you're dating someone who has money at the time
and
power and all those things, you know, you've got, you know, you can call the police if you want and they'll talk you down like, oh, you know, you guys come on, you know, and so you don't feel like you have anybody on your side, you know, that's going to speak for you and help you, you know, so you know, you just have to find your way out the best way you know how. And most times, most women that do get out of those situations, they just silence themselves. They don't talk about it.
Which is so incredibly sad, because out of fear.
Absolutely.
And retaliation. You know, I almost didn't do my restraining order because I was like, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
And it's so sad, but that's what we have to think about as women living on this planet. That's just the way it is, like, unfortunately.
Well, we just want to move and be free to move and be all that we are 100%. And if that's, you know, has some sexiness to it, and that's
and you can't control yourself, that's a you problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's we have to exist whole, right? So it's only fair for everyone, men and women, to exist as whole.
Absolutely.
You know, and when we can't, you know, that's when we're kind of tormented inside. It's like we have to, you know, say, well, I can't be this, I can't be that, or no one will accept me. And I hope we get to a point where that's over with. Hopefully, we have a long way to go.
We do.
But the more that, you know, people have these podcasts and people start speaking out, and let me just say, I speak out in love and forgiveness, even though I've been through a lot. I'm not here to bash anybody because I've really healed as a result of it. And I look at it differently now. I look at it like, well, I had to go through that experience to get to this place.
Yes. And that's what I love about you, Kisa. And I think this is why we are very aligned in that way of thinking.
Yeah.
Is that we do forgive the people who hurt us, because we also understand that it's a cycle that they probably learned it somewhere and blah, blah, blah. And even though we forgive them doesn't mean we want them in our lives. We have the boundary.
Boundaries are good.
Boundaries are very good, but forgiveness is also really key to coming to a place of like unconditional love. Yes. You know,
and I think everyone should have room to heal. You know, it's not for me to know if this person is better,
right?
You know, or it's not for me to worry about that anymore. But I pray for that person, and I pray for the people in their lives that they are, you know, and that one of the things that because I did have a conversation with that ex, you know, years later, and one of the things that I said is, just don't do what you did to me to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's what you hope for, you know. So I took the hit, you know, but can you change that?
Yeah.
And don't do it to somebody else. You know, I think that's the most important thing. So it's like we all make mistakes, and we all have experienced some type of life, and most of us have had some kind of trauma that I've found out. And the whole thing is that, look, let's just fix it. You know, this is what we did then, but you can change it.
Yes, people can change.
Anyone can change.
If you truly want to change, you can.
But you have to decide to do it.
And I don't care how old you are. People say, oh, they're older people can't. No.
You have to
Anybody
decide
can change.
to do it.
Exactly.
And I tell people, I say, well, you know, I tell myself, how you change it is just speaking up and telling the truth. Yeah. Even if it's something that reflects something negative on you, how you can heal from it is saying, you know, that wasn't the best thing that I did. I didn't do it. I didn't handle that right.
Right. And no one's perfect. And that's what we're here on earth to do is to learn and to make mistakes and to grow from them. Because without all, not saying that we're like, bring on the pain, but without the pain, sometimes we aren't able to.
What did you say? It's healing through the pain.
Yeah, healing through the pain.
Finding joy and finding, all these positive things. And, I hear a lot of people talk about, all the negative. This person's doing this and this person did that. Well, that may be, but how do we make it better?
Yeah.
Like, how do we change that now? What do we do? Do we keep, talking about how bad this was, or do we do something to fix it?
Yes.
And what is that? And so someone told me, whatever you speak out of your mouth has power. So, the only reason why I was in those situations is because I gave it power, because I didn't speak, because I hadn't elevated myself. Yes. And so that is what was attracted to me.
Absolutely.
But now it's like, I know my words have power, and I know that who I am as a person has just power. So I'll never be in those situations again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Repeat that again. Let me hear that again.
Never again. Ever again.
I'm so incredibly proud of you, because even after that, there was so many other things that you had experienced as well. And we'll just save that for another episode, because like I said, her life is like multiple movies. So we'll save that for another show. But I would love for us to talk about how we do change it. What do we do from here on out? How can other artists who are kind of trying to get into the music industry, like what advice you would have for them? But we're going to get into that after this sponsored break. So see you soon. It's me, Miss Theo again. Besides being a healer, I'm also an international photographer and filmmaker with a passion for storytelling and capturing magical moments. From weddings to portraits, documentaries to music videos, and lifestyle to branding, I don't just take photos, I translate energy into art. Based wherever the story takes me, from Hawaii to Bali to Thailand to LA, I'm available worldwide for shoots, events, and creative collaborations. Check out my portfolio at theotakesphotos.com. Can't wait to create with you.
I'm trying not to laugh at you. But I can, because you laughed at me with my helmet.
Come on, that is so
wow, Theo.
Girl, you would be laughing at yourself if you saw that. I know, I could see, because you probably like this. You're like, like that. I know you were like that. Bless her heart, the lady who is sitting next to you.
She was so sweet. Oh my God, bless her.
Oh my God, Kisa. So she travels a lot for work, and she was on an airplane recently, and for a short flight to come back to LA, and she said, she's like, there was so much turbulence, and the plane was like dipping and diving, and I was so scared. I really thought that was it. And there was a young lady sitting next to me, holding my hand, telling me it was okay. And then Kisa's like, and then I just thought I'd pull out my construction hat. Because she's a facilities manager as her day job. And so she has to, I didn't even know you had to carry a construction hat with you everywhere you go. So,
well, I don't have to, but for this particular assignment, I had one with me.
So she had one on the plane, just ready to go. Just turbulence.
It made me feel better. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
And I'm sure it was really hilarious for her to...
I'm sure she told her husband, who's a firefighter, like
she put on her hard hat and everything. But it's not a bad idea, actually.
I don't think so.
You've been seeing what's been going on with the planes and everything lately.
In a tornado, we were having a tornado in Chicago when he was little, and he had his football helmet. He had to be 2, and I was babysitting another baby. I put his football helmets on both of them.
Hey, it could save. Oh my God, little 2-year-olds like wobbling. They can't even walk. They're like, and
they're just sitting there.
That's so cute. I can imagine what TJ's been alive.
Yes. Like, whatever we got to do.
Oh my God.
Anyway, it's so funny.
Anyways, well, welcome back. Welcome back. thank you so much for sharing
Yes.
your story with us.
No problem.
Because, it's a pretty intense story.
Yes.
So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that with us. And I hope that whoever's listening, that it does inspire them to speak up as well. And obviously, like, everyone's situation is very different. Some are more dangerous than others. So we just pray for you guys and cast a bubble of golden white light protection around each and every one of you. And that if you do have the ability to speak to someone, please do. Please do. Even honestly, if it's to yourself in the mirror, to just acknowledge like what you're going through. Oh, but thank you for sharing that. So now that you've gone through very many painful things, and how can other people turn their similar pain into power? What have you done?
What did I do?
Yeah, what did you do, girl? What's your secret sauce?
Well, I think what I really believe now is that because God would give me all these visions and these dreams. Thank goodness, because I think that's helped me navigate through this life, or just the ability for God to speak to me in that way. And one of the dreams I always talk about was him saying that, showing me a tornado, and I'm asking God, well, why do you allow so many bad things to happen? And he says, because in my destruction is where you find my greatest love for you. And so I pass that on to other people, and I remind myself of that as I navigate through this life, just like everybody else. And even with all the things that I've experienced, I always know that someone else is going through something just as challenging, if not way more, more horrible than what I could have ever experienced. But this is our challenge here on earth, right? And so you just have to train your brain to understand that this is a part of the process, right? And so you wake up every day and you say, okay, this doesn't feel good, but this is a part of the process. And what am I supposed to do with this? Well, you're supposed to get through it, heal through it, and grow because of it. And I think that if we're taught early on to look at life in that way, then it wouldn't feel so traumatizing, and we wouldn't really hurt each other as much as we do. No one's telling us, which is why, I started this program, with just healing through arts and visualization and different things like that, because my dream is that if we can get to people early on and say, look, we can't stop these things from happening to you, but these are the tools you can use to get through it and grow as a result of it. And these are your gifts, and focus on your gifts and building up people's self-esteem and making people understand their value. Each and every one of us has a valuable part of us that can be enhanced. Each and every one of us. But we don't know what that is, most of us. We're just living life. So no one has identified what that is in us early on. And if they did, it would change, I think, how we hurt each other, how we interact with one another. And, I definitely believe in being empowered as a woman, but I also understand that we are all in this together. So we are in this together. So we got to heal through this together.
Yes.
And so I wake up every day and I just ask God to give me clarity, and, support me in this day. How do I get through this day? Support me in this. And it seems to work for me. and it allows me to not try to hold on to too much. We just keep compiling experience after this hurt me, then this hurt me, then this hurt me, and this is why I am angry, and this is why I'm that. Well, I choose to say, well, this was really bad. Let me chop at this one, figure out why this happened. What part did I play in attracting this? What do I need to do to elevate past this? And chop it and then get rid of it. Don't hold on to that one. Then go on to the next thing and keep going. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And just being authentic, And, I think as women, and this is really interesting, today we have to fight for people to see we're powerful when we really don't. We really are. And everyone sees it. The stress of us trying to do it all as women is killing us. you know? And sometimes you have to just lay back and go, hey, wait a minute. I need to stop trying to prove a point to somebody and live my life the way God designed it for me. You know, we think that we've got to prove something, and we don't. And, you know, I think part of my relationships and the dysfunction in my relationship had to do with I had to prove something to somebody. And now I don't feel that way. You know, now I just feel like I have to exist and live my life in balance and peace and happiness and grow. And, you know, the ones that accept it do, and the ones that don't, they just don't.
Yep. And I freaking love that. When you get to a point where you're like, I just don't give a it's the best. And you do lose a lot of people.
Sometimes
you know,
you do,
because you know, we're ever changing, ever evolving humans, you know. So when we start to evolve and we start to ascend or change into a different timeline, then not everyone can come with you.
Not everyone can come with you.
Yeah.
But you get to take all the experiences with you. One thing I learned through the fires, and I thought about, what do I want to take? Well, I wanted to take my son's pictures, a couple of photos, you know, family and everything like that. But then I thought about, what if I couldn't take it? Because there were people who couldn't carry that stuff with them. And really all you have is the memories that you've shared with somebody, the experiences that you've had with somebody. That is the most valuable thing. And, you know, I always tell people, you got to remember something. The money and all the things that you have, it doesn't get you into the gates of heaven. It doesn't make you more privileged than anybody when we leave this earth. You know. And so we have to remember to just be humble, I think, in this experience in life, you know, and give grace to people that struggle with mental illness, people who struggle with finding themselves. Give them grace. You know, create your boundaries, but give them grace. You know, and give yourself grace.
Exactly. Give yourself grace. It always begins with yourself first. Number one, back to one. Any advice for young artists who are coming into the music scene?
Yeah, you know, my whole mission is to tell artists to use your gifts of music and voice and song and all of those things as a way to not only get to whatever you call successful in that, but to use it as a way to heal through different things in your life too, in a positive way. You know, use your gifts and know what they are and know the power that lies within those gifts, and use it for yourself first, like what you said. And, you know, when you write a song, you know, let the song speak to you, you know, and let it speak to you in a way that heals you in some kind of way. I think the greatest songwriters back in the day, they really wrote from those experiences, which is why we, you know, listen to these songs, you know, today, like, what's her name? Etta James, At Last. At last, my love has come around. She took
keep singing, girl. Just keep singing. Why don't you bless her?
My lonely days are over. She wrote that song was written out of an experience of love. And, you know, I think, you know, we have to use those special gifts, and we need to channel them now to not only reach other people, but start with ourselves first. So entertainers, you know, continue to create and create from your heart, and, you know, create from your soul, you know, and I think that we'll be on the path of having superstars again when we really are authentic.
Yes, authenticity is key. What is a thing that you're most grateful for from experiencing pain?
My son.
Oh, that's a good answer.
My son is the greatest pain I've ever felt in my life. So the moment that I decided that I wanted to be a mom, it was the scariest thought ever, because you don't know if you know how to do this, you know, and it's your first time experiencing this too, you know, and, you know, then you go through childbirth, you know, and you don't know if that's going to hurt. And, you know, I still have a weak bladder because I had a kid.
Your body changes forever.
Your body changes forever. So you're making this decision to go through this pain and the unforeseen, to have this opportunity to, you know, create life, you know. And so, but through that pain is the most wonderful joy. And I go back to what God showed me in the tornado. It's like I see God through the pain, because every time I look at my son and I see who he is as a young man and who he's becoming outside of him being an actor and a singer, just who he is. And what he's taught me in this journey by being who he is, and watching him figure it all out, is the greatest pain and joy that I could ever experience.
And you've definitely experienced deep pain and deep joy.
Because I had a special kid,
Yeah.
you know, and I am grateful for it every day, and I thank him for it. And every time I get to tell him that, you know, I tell him, thank you, son. Like, I don't want him to ever think there's a moment that through his actions or anything that has made me feel disappointed or made me, no, it's just the opposite. I thank my son for every single moment, every single experience. And yeah, so I'm grateful. You know, it's a lot of pain when you're raising children, you know, today, and just how things are, you know, but it's all worth it.
That's beautiful. He's a beautiful soul.
Yes, he is.
He's a mini version of Kisa in so many ways, which is beautiful.
You know, I always tell him, I said, you know, we were blessed to be able to create him, but, you know, God chose a path for him, and I support his path. And, you know, and I'm curious to see where it's going to lead in his life, you know, but the one thing that I would tell him and anybody, just have courage. Just be courageous. You know, and so that's my greatest joy and my greatest pain. But
beautiful. Well, if you guys don't know who her son is, if you want to give him a little
that's
promo,
my baby. But Thaddeus James Mixon, he just got nominated for an award, so please support him.
Hey, what award?
NAACP award.
Oh,
for
an
the shoe called not NAACP,
Oh.
NAACP. And it's for the show The
NAACP.
Madness.
Isn't that NAACP?
Maybe so.
NAACP.
Oh, you're right.
I was like, what?
Don't listen to me. She's right.
Wait,
how much I know about it.
I mean, that happens to me all the time too.
And then also, I just have to say kudos to him and just his accomplishments. And so one of my jokes when you were reading off my bio, it was cracking me up because the movie that I was in,
The toy.
So really and truly, I was just an extra. I played the elf. And so I laugh at this because I said that was my, you know, claim to fame. I was an elf in the movie. No one ever knew who it was. I was an elf in a costume, right? But my son was in a movie with Eddie Murphy where it was a real Christmas movie. He has a real meaty role. So he took all the little
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So he took it to a whole nother level, but I always tease him. I was like, but I was the original. I was an elf.
I planted these roots before you were even born.
I was an elf. but you know, I'm proud of him. He's a person that really understood, you know, what it meant to see something for himself and make it reality. And so visualization is really, you know, it's real. You know, it's whatever we speak becomes real. Whatever we see for ourselves becomes our reality. And he is one that has led his life in that way, and I hope he continues to do that. So
Beautiful. Well, sending him lots of good wishes and good vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's awesome.
Okay. How can people work with you? Okay. I know that you have the school, but you can actually, I mean, you can songwrite, you coach people with acting, you coach people with just vocal stuff, like so many other things. So how can people work with you?
Well, if they want to work with me, just call me. My phone number is...
No, I'm going to stop that right there, okay? Because we learned about boundaries a lot this past year. So
777-9311.
That's somebody's name. I don't know. Somebody's number. I don't know. That's funny because I have 777 right here.
It's a song.
Oh, is it? She's like, that's... I'm like, someone's going to call that. There's no area code, though, so I don't know.
That's a song.
Yes.
No, really just, you know, they can reach me through you. These platforms. Whatever your platform, so just hit her up.
Yes, I'll put everything in the show notes.
At the moment, you know, I just have, you know, emails, you know, if someone wants to reach me. and
How about the website for your school?
There you go.
This is where I help her sometimes with
I wasn't ready for this. So, yes. So, I honestly just, whatever that is that you post after this show, that's where they can reach me.
She's like, I don't know the address.
That's bad.
It's all good. I will put all
But,
the details
it's
there.
through, most of this stuff is through word of mouth.
Yeah.
I do work with, different artists, and I've helped cultivate a lot. And volunteer work in the communities with the kids and stuff like that. And it is now a lot through word of mouth, so if you want to just reach out to me, Kisa.Hakeem, you can find me on,
Kisa.Hakeem.
Yeah.
That's not your email?
No, it's not my email. It's my Instagram.
Oh,
I was going to say Instagram.
Instagram. Y'all, I'm just gonna put all of the correct things in the show notes. All right, so
there you go. Never been good at none of that stuff. She'll tell you.
I'm like, that's not your email.
But yeah, you can find me at however Theo says, and then but yeah, and again, it's still a work in progress, but I think we're coming a long way, and I believe in people. I believe in the world. I haven't given up, and I encourage people to start looking at things on more of the positive side. And, let's not give up on each other, and let's not give up on the fact that we can make things better by just forgiving and believing and valuing ourselves and valuing others.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you. And being compassionate toward others.
100%.
And ourselves, despite our differences.
Having grace.
Having grace.
Yeah.
In your face.
In your face.
Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, well, the timer just went off. They're like, it's time to go, bitches. But yes. Well, cheers. Cheers to you.
Drinking agua.
Cheers to turning pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love.
Pain into power, and I love that. That's a good one.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. With this.
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much, Kisa, for wait, I got to sip. Hold on. But thank you so much for just being open and being an amazing human being that literally changes people's lives by just existing. Aww. Seriously, by just your heart. And I appreciate and love you so much. And I'm so excited to see what happens for you in this next year.
And Valentine's Day is my favorite day, so I like the hearts.
Darla, darla, darla. And on that note, we will see you next time.
Yeah, good job. I like your show.
Thank you. Wait, we're going to take a picture.
Oh, okay.
So hold on.
I watch your show. I would watch it. I was like, turn pain into power. I like that. I would watch that. That's a good title.
Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning into the Pain into Power podcast. If this episode spoke to your soul, please take a moment to rate, review, and share it with someone who might need this message today. You can connect with me on Instagram at Healing House of Theo or visit loveisthehighestfrequency.com to learn more about how we can potentially work together on all levels: energy healing, speaking engagements, tarot divination, empowered photo shoots, soul transformational coaching, visual storytelling, music, and so much more. For podcast business inquiries or to sponsor an episode, please email me at thepainintopowerpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, love is the highest frequency, and pain isn't where your story ends. It's where your awakening begins. Until next time, keep turning your pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love.